Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is made available through cooperation with the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission meets on the first and third Thursdays of each month. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. The planning meeting agenda is posted on the city's website at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over today's meeting, Barbara Lomas.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to call to order the October 6, 2016 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Lomas.
Here.
Commissioner Schwartz. Commissioner Rudnick.
Here.
Commissioner Strong.
Here.
Commissioner Tack.
Present.
Commissioner Wade.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item number 3, public statements. We will now receive public statements. This time is reserved for anyone wishing to address the commission on any matter not on the consent calendar public hearings portion of the agenda. If you are here on items 5A through 5D, this is not the time to speak. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission on a matter not on the consent calendar public hearings portion of this agenda? If so, please come forward. And state your name.
I'm Elliot Kirschman. Thanks for hearing me tonight. My boss does have an item before you, but this is not regarding that. I recently resigned from the Golden Empire Transit District. I had the pleasure of representing the city of Bakersfield. It was a great experience, and so I just, randomly thought this would be a good opportunity maybe to talk about a little bit what I learned. And one of the things I learned is that transit in general and the planning of our city are more intertwined than I really realized as I sat in your chair a few years ago. And many times the conversation that we had as we go and try to anticipate increasing the service in our community was, well, the infrastructure wasn't there to, to facilitate more riders. And I'll tell you, we have, there was a long-term GET transit plan. There's also a shorter term, more of a 5-year plan. And that long-term plan, the idea was that you'd encompass, more of the city. But the short-term plan was how do we make the current infrastructure, meaning the shopping centers and the neighborhoods, more accessible to transit. And one of the issues that I discovered personally was as you plan shopping centers, there's a few good examples. Northwest Promenade's a great example of where Golden Empire Transit actually has a bus stop inside the confines of the shopping center. There's one next to Walmart. And that actually was one of our more widely used transit stops. The folks would, go shopping at Walmart and use that stop, and it was a great thing. But I think something that's interesting, maybe you all can take up, is how do you continue to integrate transit into the new developments? It's currently not a development standard, and in fact, there's very few times. Golden Empire, they made comment on PD plans or things like that, precise development plans and shopping centers, but it's not a course of action. It's not something that's really frequently done. And so I'd encourage you, if the commissioners are so inclined, to at some point look into how do you increase the presence of transit stops in development throughout town. As we increase our density, we've got some nice apartments that are going on in the downtown, our core area. And, at some point, the density will be such that transit makes more sense. One of the things Golden Empire Transit was doing was adding what's called headways, which means that instead of waiting an hour for the bus, you could only have to wait 15 or 30 minutes. At that point, the ridership, is scheduled. It should go up quite a bit. So anyways, I encourage the commission to look at opportunities when development plans come in, send them to Golden Empire Transit and say, hey, how would you make this development, sort of talk to your 5 and 10-year plan? And so I hope that the commission would take that to heart, and I look forward to see what you do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Tack, are you trying to say something?
Did it look like it?
It did.
Thank you, Mr. Kirschman. I thought you were coming back to get your job back and beg, but I just want to let you know we are the wrong people. Maybe someday I'll be one of the right people. Anyway, looking forward, so I guess what I just want to ask through the chair, if I may, to staff, Mr. Kirschman talked about all of our plans being submitted to Golden Empire, so on and so forth. Is that currently done? Is this a common practice, or is it just part of our practice? If you could explain generally, I mean, he makes a great point. We've got to have that transit, component involved in there. So where are we in that big scheme of things, if I may?
Certainly, Commissioner Tack, through the chair. We do have several processes in place where we try to collaborate with GET and other transit agencies when we do site plan review. We make sure that we're looking at the regional transit plan that KernCog and others put together, and that kind of lays out where the rapid transit corridors are planned to be over the next 10, 20 years, and other things like that. So we try to incorporate that into site design. And whenever our site plan review staff is aware of something that's coming in on an arterial street or somewhere where it's likely that a GET transit corridor is or could be, we certainly look at that and encourage them to incorporate that in their design. And then the other options are when there's a PUD or a PCD or some sort of discretionary action that comes before the commission or the council, that would be an opportunity for the council or the commission to make that a condition of approval as well. And then a third ongoing effort that we're working on, as we all know, is the high-speed rail station area planning effort. And that's a grant-funded planning program that's for downtown overall. So it is focused more on downtown, but it's heavily coordinating with GET, and there are several GET representatives on the stakeholders group for that. So we're talking with them, we're collaborating, and we're making sure that their needs are met. And we can apply that citywide as well.
Good. Thank you very much. And I thought that, I was almost positive that that was the case, but I just want to make sure that we're addressing Mr. Kirschman's statements. As you never really know what he's thinking inside there until he comes up here. So anyway, Elliot, thank you, and staff, thank you. Madam Chair, thanks.
Thank you, Elliot. It's nice seeing you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on a matter not on our agenda tonight? Seeing no one, we'll move along. We are on agenda item 4, which is consent calendar, non-public hearing items. Does any commissioner wish to remove a consent calendar, non-public hearing item for separate consideration? Seeing no one. If not, may I have a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the consent calendar, non-public hearing item? Motion?
I'll move.
Thank you. This is a roll call vote.
Who's second?
Yes,
Second.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Now let's try the roll call vote.
Commissioner Lomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Strong?
Aye.
Commissioner Tack?
Yes.
Commissioner Wade?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
On to consent agenda item 5, consent calendar public hearings. The purpose of this section is to vote on all of the consent calendar public hearing items in one motion without further comment, unless an item is removed by the commission or someone in the audience who wishes to speak on an item. If anyone wishes to speak on a consent calendar public hearing item, the item must be removed from this portion of the agenda. Any items removed will be heard in order. At this time, I will open all of the consent calendar public hearing items. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on a consent calendar public hearing item at this time? Seeing no one, does a commissioner wish to remove an item? Also seeing no one. So at this time, the public hearings on all of the consent calendar public hearing items are now closed. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the consent calendar public hearing items, incorporating all staff memoranda and revised staff recommendations?
Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Commissioner Wade. And Commissioner Strong is a second. May I have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Strong?
Aye.
Commissioner Tack?
Yes.
Commissioner Wade?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Thank you. That's the business for tonight. We have any communications from staff? None. Commissioner comments? Ooh, it's back on the agenda. There we go. Commissioner Williams.
Just want to say thank you to our BPD officer for being here tonight. As always, thanks for your time.
Anyone else? Got anybody? Commissioner Tack, is that you? You got nothing. All right, good night. We are adjourned. Have a good evening.